Second half of the F2 season is going to get underway tonight. We're here for round number 6 of the season here in season 19 of Qatar now. And last time we were here, just last season, actually the second time we were here, it was 2 first-time winners. It was PSR Crispy and L Mythic who took the sprint and feature race wins. The time before that in the season 17 running, we had one of the most dominant victories from Skither, a race that ended full of punctures. And in the other race we had as well, it was full of overtakes and crazy stuff. I think a week or two before we had the championship one, in fact. But as you may know as well, this is the 3rd time we're running in Qatar for RPL F2. And 3rd time points-wise, at least, I should clarify, because we ran preseason here, as you may already know. So some of the drivers who did that event have the advantage. But speaking of advantages, last week it was Jack Miles getting the advantage on the championship, getting the lead over Skither there. In fact, he didn't win both races at all last week. He finished 2nd in both of them, whereas Metal and Josh took their 2nd wins in RPL F2 just last week. We'll see what they can do this week then. And other drivers as well, such as Jack Miles, like we spoke about the championship. He took the championship lead over Skits. But I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. It's good to have you all here through the stream, wherever it may be. It's just good to have you. I'm by myself for tonight's event. I'm okay with that. I will be commentating later tonight as well for RPL F1 in Imola. I should be not by myself for that one, but we'll find out what happens. We're about to ready up to get this thing underway here. And with that being said, we've got lots to talk about ahead of this qualifying session, that's for sure. One of the things to talk about ahead of this qualifying session is obviously the championship gap. Skither is not here for a 2nd week running, and you've got Jack Miles' teammate who leads the championship by 4 points. Josh isn't here, but Tadpole and Metal, who sit 4th and 5th in the championship, they are here. We're going to see what they end up doing. Tadpole was originally supposed to run in the 24 hours of Spa. He has backed out of that last moment, so that's why he is here in the event for tonight. We've got 16 drivers on board with us tonight. Nobody going to have to serve a qualifying ban as far as I'm aware. But yeah, we shall see what ends up happening for this. Qualifying about to get underway in just a bit of a moment. So we've had Trident take every pole except for the one in Silverstone, which Tadpole took. Jack Miles took pole last week in Saudi. And as we said, he was very consistent last week, just enough to get the championship lead. Constructors, by the way, since we spoke about Trident lead over ART by 91 points, then Virtuosi in 3rd. Kipu's F2 Academy sitting 2nd and 3rd. But with that being said, both those teams, with where they stand right now, they're not really realistically in championship contention. They need a stinker today from Trident to still have a chance. Mathematically, they do have a chance. But yeah, let's talk about some of the drivers for tonight's event before we get to qualifying. We've got Robin racing his first F2 race on loan to VAR. We've got Goatley in the Camp Boss now full-time. Blonde in the Camp Boss on a 1-race contract. Ikazuchi is full-time. Spangley is reserving. George Up Williams reserving. He's in the Prema. And in the Trident, the previous F2 champion, the most recent one, Bourbon. Good to have you all here joining us. If you're just joining for RPL F2, I am your commentator, Ryan Searles. We're getting underway now for qualifying. Also, one of the other drivers on loan for tonight is Jake Bandy, who got a point or two last night in RPL Tier 2. That's good to see. But track limits here will be a big talking point for sure, no doubt about it. We've got drivers on laps right now, and 2 of our main drivers in terms of pace are right now 1-2, Jack Miles and SLR Metal. We're completing the end of the first sector with Jack Miles on the top of our table. SLR Metal takes it back. Blonde, FBL, Trat, all fighting for 3rd through 5th. This is going to be a very interesting race if some of those guys like FBL and even Trat Racer are up there, whether it be the feature race or the sprint. Right now on our sprint pole, we got Invade right there. He's actually full-time for his own academy now. So that's a little bit of a change for Invade. We're going to see how he does with that change. But like we said, track limits around here, a bit of an interesting one. Something we'll be talking about a lot all night. Drivers do tend to exceed track limits quite a bit around here. It actually was decided on penalties one of the races last season, and F2 at this track. Chaco lost the victory from it. So, yeah. So, Jack Miles just losing out on pole right now from SLR Metal, who's currently got it. And SLR Metal has been impressive. He raced for the first time a few seasons ago in F2, but took his first victory just a few weeks ago in Austria, then followed up last week, and now will be taking his first career pole in RPL F2. SLR Metal has done it. And pole position in the sprint race will go to Polish Hammer with George Alp Williams on the front row. SLR Metal, congrats to him. He has been on the uprise, and it has to be said, he is making a charge. The 54th different driver to take pole position. The first new driver to do it in Season 19. Here's your qualifying order. Metal over Jack Miles. Then Strat Racer in third. Bourbon up there in fourth. Wavy Knife with an impressive effort, to say the least. Fifth place for him. He's actually not done too bad so far this season in F2. Even when he's got unlucky. He's had some good pace. Tadpole, fifth in the sprint race starting grid. Blonde, fourth. Invade is third. Maybe a good chance for a second F2 podium for him. George Alp Williams, front row in the sprint. Polish, pole position in the sprint. And FBL, who made a big mistake down on 11th. If it weren't for that, maybe he could have been up there as well. And a lot of drivers getting disqualified, whether it's because of incidents they had through the session or end up exceeding the track limits, which is a big thing around here. Robin says he has an F1 setup because he forgot to save an F2 setup. Well, that does happen from time to time, so I totally understand that happening to some people. It is easy to forget saving a setup. So I don't blame Robin on having that happen. Just an FYI, folks, for the event for tonight in Qatar and even Imola later on tonight for RPL F1. Some of our drivers are missing the event due to partaking in the 24 hours of Spa on iRacing. We have some of our current drivers, some of our past drivers in that event, whether it's for an RPL design team or not. So we wish those guys who are racing in that the best of luck tonight. So we will be underway now for the formation lap. I just want to talk about the guys who got disqualified from laps right there. You had Robin, who's on loan to VAR for tonight. You have Spangley, who is also reserving, I believe. He's in one of those cars. Ikazuchi in the ART full-time. Jake Bandy in the Prema on loan or reserving, either one. Goatley, I believe maybe full-time now. I believe it was him who's also full-time for the Academy of Tracks. Camp boss right there. But yeah, we have interesting guys at the back of the field who are either first-timers, debut drivers, whatever it may be right there. Robin, F2 debut. Spangley, I believe, an F2 debut. He races in Tier 3. Jake Bandy, F2 debut. Goatley, I believe it's either his second or third start in F2, but first full-time. Blonde, he's reserving F2 once again. He's a previous winner here. George was supposed to be full-time this season. He's reserving. He's second place. He's the tier coordinator, by the way, so everyone better be on their best behavior, especially after a race like Saudi Arabia last week, which was just atrocious when it came to driving standards. Mainly in the sprint race, though, compared to the feature. But yeah, it was Metal and Josh who took the victories last week. So we'll find out who does so this time. But you can tell Jack Miles is eager to get by George Alp Williams here on the formation lap, as he is an AI, warming up his tires, doing what he can. But our man who leads us down to turn 1 will be Polish Hammer. PHM took their best result with Reese Dainty reserving last week in that car. And right now, PHM have this man full-time alongside Morgan Cheeseman. He's the only PHM full-time here tonight in the event. Polish Hammer making his making his second RPL F2 start here in Qatar. He's on pole position, as we said. We're going to find out what he does to lights out. Give us your predictions in chat, folks, for what will happen. But for Polish Hammer, he had a good race in Tier 3 going until he got spun. Will he be able to redo that one this time, but in F2 cars? Goatley the GOAT lining up on the grid. Our last one to come into his grid slot. Our 5 red lights will be kicking underway now for Qatar F2. The second half of the season is about to get underway. They rev it up, and the lights are out. Away we go. Polish Hammer didn't get the best of starts. It was George Alp Williams getting a brilliant start, a better launch. Tadpole to the middle. He'll get squeezed as they go to turn one. 3 wide. Blonde on the inside. Polish already falling back. He's down to 7th. Tadpole now side by side with Blonde here. They're all either 2 or 3 wide in the background, 4 positions, but George Alp Williams, a previous F2 winner, is currently leading, while Wavy is now side by side, wheel to wheel with Invade, 2 Red Bull livery cars dueling it out here. But in the background, lots of drivers trying to find their place, 2 wide everywhere it seems, but Spangley has been spun the wrong direction down there at turn 5, while down at turn 6, Tadpole wanted to take the lead, but he just couldn't do it. Some movement here. FBL with Bourbon. FBL trying to get some spots up the field here after he had a horrid qualifying. He's going to be back there for both the feature and the sprint race. Trat Racer is all over the back of Invade. 2 F2 team principals dueling it out. Now, here comes Trat Racer to the inside. Trat Racer will go the long way around now for the triple right coming up. You got the 100-meter board, 50-meter braking board, and now they brake just a little to get it slowed down here with Invade now ahead. But Tadpole, he won back in Silverstone here in RPL F2 and won one of our preseason events. Right now, he's trying to go for a race lead here over George Alp Williams, the reserve, the tier coordinator, and the previous F2 winner here in this tier. Not at the circuit though, but it would be great to do just that. Here we come to the line to lead lap 1. It will be George Alp Williams, the Welshman, doing just that. Here comes Tadpole in the slipstream, ducking out already to the left side. He'll have to go the long way around. In the background, Wavy's there with Blonde for a podium. That'll be a big fight later on. Invade with Trat, but now George does hang on for our race lead. Trat gets Invade. That puts him vulnerable to Jack now, but mainly single file throughout this whole field. Everybody going to be within DRS range down to 14th. We'll see how they take advantage of that, but George Alp Williams leading this event as a reserve, looking to be another winner here on this F2 season. Prema, one of the only teams who've gone multiple seasons in a row constantly winning races. They don't have the driver lineup this season with Titan, Gagi, those type of drivers missing. But George Alp Williams, can he do it? Is it too early to ask that question? It's not too early to ask if Jack Miles can make an overtake. He's done just that. Jack Miles, is he clear yet though? He is now. Wow, cracking racing so far to start this event. It's absolutely scintillating stuff throughout the whole field. Everywhere you go, it seems to be a battle between our drivers. Tadpole, though, he's closing in on George. George has got this pack bunched up quite a bit, all the way to 10th place. Polish is in the thick of things, trying to overtake somebody right there in the midfield. We'll see if he does so. But George up, well, oh, big incident. Blonde going out wide. There was contact with Wavy. Wavy now promoted to the podium place. He's not at a podium in over a season now, but he would love to have one tonight. Blonde defending from Trat. Polish trying to overtake Metal. It's just all kicking off here. Lap 3 about to kick underway. DRS will be enabled, but they won't get it till next time by. Tadpole, Wavy, all trading fastest laps, but Tadpole this time going the inside line as George will defend this one. Down to turn 1. Tadpole, dive bomb time. Will he pull it off? He's just ahead of George. He forces him out though. Tadpole was that a little eager. George maybe get a little eager back. He bumps into the back of him. Remember, Wavy is there to pounce, but George retakes the lead of this race. That was not without contact, though. Will the stewards have a look at that later? Trouble for Jake Bandy. He has spun the wrong direction. While his teammate is leading, he is around. And we gotta move. We gotta move. Trat race here with Jack Miles. Wheel to wheel here. Jack Miles would love some places here, and he would love to extend the championship lead. The Season 8 champion. But right now, he needs this place over Trat if he wants to do just that. Right now, the last point spot goes to Metal, P8. So, Tadpole still pressurizing George Alp Williams. Just remember for George, it has been an extremely long time since he has last won an RPL F2 race. You'd have to go back an extreme amount. It would have to be all the way back to season 11 the last time George won. That was the last season without any former champions in it. And Ikazuchi gets a track limit penalty. He's the first one, and he probably won't be the last one either. Right now, moving around, Trat Racer trying to overtake Blonde. In the background, 2 Red Bull livery cars running wheel to wheel almost. Down the front straight, remember, For later on this race, earlier start finish line. Tadpole gets DRS, takes advantage of it. Jack Metal fastest lap, but Tadpole takes over the lead once again. Here comes Trat moving around. Moving around as well, Metal and Invade, 2 Academy teammates right there. That's Invade's Academy going at it. Actually, they're 2 teammates, in fact, not just Academy teammates. Trat, though, holding on over Jack. He's behind Blonde and Wavy, just waiting to pounce. A little bit of a tap there Jack gave Trat, trying to get him to move along and get another place here on our field. But looks like lap 4, everyone just getting settled in. Georgia's got these guys backed up from his pace so far from lap 1 and lap 2. All the way to 13th place right now, you can see. Oh, move being made. Jack Miles and Metal. Trat in there in the action as well. It's a 3-horse race here for 5th now. It was just a 2-car battle a moment ago, but Trat right here has Metal that he is ahead of. George losing DRS on Tadpole. But Tadpole, he's won 5 sprints before. His first feature win came in Silverstone just 2 weeks ago. We'd definitely love to add some more points at the table, but preferably in the feature. Wavy Knife. Now battling it out with Blonde. Blonde going through. He let Blonde by. Did Wavy just make a mistake? Was Blonde just faster? We don't know. Something to mention as well. We didn't mention him a lot at the top of the table. Bourbon reserving tonight. The past champion, the most recent champion, the 2-time champion. Racing for Trident tonight. They need some points. And right now, they don't need him losing the rear like that. That is treacherous for Bourbon. But Trident, like I said, they need points. If they have an issue with Jack Miles at any point, Bourbon needs to be there to capitalize. Wavy is close to Blonde, but further on back, the more focus will be on Goatley and Bourbon. Side by side to turn 1. 11th place. This is outside of the points. Bourbon has the inside line. Goatley has the right side, which will be the inside line for turn 3. A little bit of squeezing and pinching, but all fair racing here in the midfield. Goatley is getting ahead, but he is not clear at the braking zone. Yeah, he's clear now, though. Bourbon had to back out of that. Now up for 3rd place. We got a move being made. Trat down the inside. He sent a dive bomb on Wavy Knife. Metal is alongside Jack as well. Lots of battling through this midfield. Continuing. Here is Wavy on the inside of Trat. Right here. He gets clear. Trat is clear of Metal, but Metal only just ahead of Jack. So right now, 2 seconds the gap between George and Tadpole, but all behind that, they're battling it out, trying to get by. And Jack Miles still side by side. FBL got a penalty. Jack is now battling with Trat once again. Trat having the inside line. Jack is pinching him here to the inside curb, not giving him an inch. Did Jack get forced out there? Now contact between the pair. Metal, Invade, they're there to pounce. Who's going to back out between these two? It may be crucial if they lose the DRS, but that was a detection line. They did not lose it. Trat is ahead. Robin with a penalty. Metal slotting in. Invade slotting in. Lots happening, but Blonde has now lost touch with George Alp Williams here for 2nd place. And speaking of Blonde, Wavy Knife is on the move. He has a penalty, but he needs to pull this gap. He does get by and has a chance to do just that. Moves being made once again. Jack Miles going around the outside. Will he be able to pull this off? Later braking from the Trident compared to the VAR. Side by side to turn 2. Trat will not have the advantage, but he will for turn 3 if he continues to remain wheel to wheel. Jack is ahead. This is cracking racing here. All third on back so far this race. You got Invade, Metal, the 2 Carlins who are getting desperate right now for these positions. They need places, especially with where the battle is for 2nd in the Constructors. Now, Dive Bomb, FBL looking to make the move for 9th place here. He has a penalty, so if he wants to get the last point spot, he needs to go now. Oh, incident. Bourbon, Ikazuchi, they've came together. Tadpole leads this race by 2.5. George almost has DRS over Wavy, and if Wavy can somehow pull out of that on Blonde and then get ahead of George, he may have a chance for a podium. But right now, Polish Hammer has a 3-second time penalty, and crucially, Trat Racer, who runs inside the points, has lagged out of the session. He did not need that Trat, and this is not the first weekend this is happening. He's been having connection issues week in and week out, and this is a bit scary for the team principal. Now Robin, side by side and banging wheels with Spangley. Goatley inside a trap, now going through for 10th place, but will be 8th place when the penalties get applied. But we're past halfway in this race. Who's going to win the sprint? Who is your money on for the 6 people watching in the Twitch chat right now as things stand? Spangley, 3 seconds to his name. Not good for him. He's outside the points. If he wanted to get inside the points, it's not going to be done in the sprint. It'll be done in the feature. Trat has joined back. Robin has been overtaken, and he's now spun around. And he resets the track. That is not allowed. Well, we told him to read the rules last week in Tier 1 after readying up before the host, and he did not do that, it seems, as he's reset. But everybody's still in this race. This is going to be interesting. Oh, Wavy Knife is off. Wavy Knife was running in a podium place, at least on track, but now that's over. Done and dusted for Wavy. Jack Miles will now put the pressure on for the podium. He's got Blonde up in front of him, and Trad Racer is lagged out once again. We'll get him an invite back. I'm the lone commentator, so we don't really have anybody destined for getting invites, so I'll be the one to do it. But Spangley, he's hit more trouble as well. He spun in the same corner Wavy did, so this is just not good for him. Tadpole looking to take a second win tonight right now. Leads this race on lap 8. Right now you got George F. Williams in second. He's already got a podium on the season, but it'll be the first one for Prema with him doing just that. Blonde, Jack, side by side for third. Wavy Knife, side by side for 6th. Trying to claw his way back into the field. Now, Blonde leaning on Jack and almost clattering into the side of him. Jack tries the old switcheroo now for turn 3, having the outside line. But 2 former champions of Tier 2 are going to race this wheel-to-wheel down into turn 4. Blonde locks up, and he goes into the path of Jack. Jack goes off, but Jack remains wheel-to-wheel. Metal is there to pounce if anything happens, but Blonde will have to concede the place, it looks like. And he does just that. Jack is through up into 3rd. Jack will now go fight this with George. Does Blonde send one? No. That'd be a bit silly to do just that, but yeah, Jack Miles doing all he can, it seems, to, I guess, minimize any damage if Skeeter comes back and ends up having quite the amount of races that we would expect. By the way, remember, guys on hard tires here, 7-8 laps in, they will be risking punctures. We had this happen in the sprint race back in the preseason event, and this did happen as well last time we ran Qatar in Season 18 and Season 17. Trat Racer's been passed for P11. Metal is close for P5 and P4 here. But we look at the positions gained here. Polish has lost out big time. There's some guys who've lost out with 4 places, Invade being one of them. Metal, Jack, Tadpole, Goatley. They're our biggest gainers here from our qualifying and order. So, Metal on the charge, making the move, pulling out alongside. Trat's joined back. He won't be in the contention for points by the looks of things, but he needs a miracle. Metal on the inside of Blonde, trying to take advantage after Blonde locked up. Blonde hangs on, but will it be for any longer after the contact? You know Metal's faster, you can clearly see it, but catching's one thing, passing is another. And Jake Bandy gets himself into the penalty club. He has got a 3-second time penalty on entrance to the pit lane, but oh, Goatley tried to make the move on FPL, and he needed to do that if he wanted to have a chance to maybe even get Wavy here in the process, who has a penalty. Oh, down the inside. Big dive bomb from Goatley, shoving his way through an FPL. Audacious send. That will surely see the steward's office. I have no doubt about it. With the incidents FPL has reported this season, won't be surprised to see that one submitted. And Jake Bandy has called it quits in the pits. Did he have rubbing damage from his incident earlier on? Be a bit tricky to have rubbing damage around here, around a circuit. It seems so tough to put it in the wall, but Jake Bandy, it seems like he has given up on this race. He is out. Trat Racer, it's not his day. He's getting the treatment he's been getting the past few races where he's lagged out. Spins, slides, drifts, what's next, says Titan. Well, that's a good question. Titan, one of our drivers, missing out on tonight's event, by the way. FBL and Polish pickup penalties. And oh, collision! That's with Robin and Spangley. Back at 14th. Oh, boy. Lap 10, 3 laps remaining. Metal up to 4th now. He takes over the place on Blonde as he gets the move done on the main straight. Jake Bandy said he had orange rear wing and he had tire pressure issues on his front left. Ooh. So make sure if you're Jake Bandy or any driver who retires from the event, you make that clear in the F2 drivers chat why you retired. If you had a rear wing damage, you are okay. You're in the clear to avoid getting a penalty. Obviously causes yellow flags on the main straight, so I'm very surprised that Metal was able to make that move on Blonde. We've seen issues from that in the past with Tier 2, with drivers trying to overtake and yellow flags causing a bit of issues with that being said. Trot Racer talking about how this game is so bad he had lagged out of the session. His VAR teammate of Robin is into the pit lane. Remember, when they do pit in the feature race, new pit lane, you'll have to get used to it. But George Alp Williams has Jack Miles right there for company, right behind. Jack Miles had a bit of a lockup, but he's within DRS of George. Late race charge potentially for Jack Miles. Watch this drive. Trot Racer has run back the session for a 4th different time, but it's definitely too little too late to get points. He's going to have to try something in the feature race. We know Trot Racer has pace. We saw his qualifying. We'll see what happens. Looks like Jack Miles is trying to defend from Metal right here. Metal is right behind him, and he's going fast. He's just set the fastest lap, and on the penultimate lap, Metal is charging. Metal is moving, and Metal is going alongside and ahead of Jack. If Metal gets George here, Jack has to wait for a collision if he wants a podium at this point, because Metal is the faster and better driver right now. Bourbon gets 10th. Maybe he's going to be the one to take a podium place with the penalties up in front. Polish is a 3. Wavy has 6. But right now, Tadpole looks to be in position to win what's going to be a 7th F2 race, trying to put himself in the top 15 on the all-time win list. He has never won at Qatar, and maybe this will be a 2nd win of the season. In fact, Tadpole for him, he's won twice in the season before. It actually came in the season he won 2 times in prior, and got his first win. I should clarify. That's what I meant to say. It was back in season 4, the time he won Abu Dhabi, and he won later in that season as well. At Abu Dhabi, his first win, you could see on the YouTube channel for RPL. Chaotic maiden wins for drivers. Tadpole on that list for a photo finish with Reese Dainty. He won his first race that season and then followed up with another victory. He's looking to do just that this season with getting a 2nd victory. This would be his first time he'd do a feature and sprint win in the same season. But right now, 3.1 is that gap. And the only thing Tadpole really will be at risk of is a puncture. That is exactly how these guys' tires wear in the sprint race. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Final lap, as we mentioned, underway now. George being pressurized for P2. Metal is there. Metal's charging. Metal's going for it. And he's around the outside and ahead. Metal gets 2nd. George has to concede for 3rd. But he cannot have Jack Miles and Blonde overtake if he wants the podium. Remember, George got promoted to the podium back in Silverstone based on penalties. We'll see if he gets it this time on the track. Goatley, Bourbon, side by side, the past F2 champion, who has struggled so far this season, takes over 9th. While this battle continues, watch the battle for 3rd place. Jack Miles is there. Jack Miles wants to take advantage. We'll see if he does do just that. George goes wide. Jack is there. Jack going through, it looks like. Banging wheels. This is extremely close with Jack and George. George now pinching him back. You have Blonde there to pounce if anything happens. This is thrilling for 3rd place. Will George hang on? He's got only a sector to go in just a moment. Oh, Blonde loses it. Wow, Metal was really just that much faster. He's gaining on Tadpole. Ikazuchi and FBL picked up penalties in the process right there. Jack is right there. We'll flick back to this battle in just a moment. Yellow flags, that's for FBL, I believe. But his teammate has put on a clinic once again. Ever since he took the lead, he's not looked back. A wiggle out of the final corner, but that's his only mistake today. Tadpole, for the 7th time in F2, is victorious. His 2nd this season. Metal comes home 2nd, boosting his chances at a championship this season to get back in contention. George takes third, his second podium of the season. Prema back up there. Jack Miles, fourth. He needed that. He's the championship leader. He extends the gap. Blonde, Invade, Wavy, and Bourbon takes it on penalties to round out the last point spot. Polish is 10th as well. He was the driver who started on sprint race pole. Tret Racer across the line. Spangley, and we'll get Robin here in a moment. Here are your positions gained. I would have to say a driver of the day mention or contender. I'd either have to be Metal or Tadpole. Metal gained 10 places or 8 places from 10th place. Tadpole, he started from 5th and gone to 1st. So either one of those drivers are my 2 driver of the day contenders, and I'd give it to one of them. And Robin for VAR will be our last car to cross the line in his F2 debut. Not the race he would have wanted, but I mentioned the idea of punctures happening. Everybody seemed to manage their tires quite well, it seems, with that being said. No one picked up a puncture from at least the stream point of view in the last lap there. Everyone looked okay. And managed their tires quite well. But the one who managed it best, Tadpole. He is victorious once again in RPL F2. This time, it's a 7th time. And for Tadpole, he is past Egg, he is past Jesse, MZQN on the all-time win list. He's now tied with Bonky and Elite. But Tadpole is really becoming elite for drivers to not have a championship in F2. It has to be said. He is one of our highest drivers in terms of wins without a title. And right now, Tadpole, right now the man, 4th in the championship, boosting his chances at catching Jack Miles. He cannot miss another race this season, but he's definitely got himself in contention, that's for sure. Look at the points from the event so far. Metal, Tadpole, all outscoring Jack. Not by a lot, though. There's not a lot of points on offer for the sprint, so you've got to keep that in mind. But it is very crucial that they've done that in case Jack has a poor feature race. Jack, the championship leader, 29 points into this event over Tadpole. Tadpole outscored him by 5, so 24 points that gap. Here are your final results from the sprint race. Metal got fastest lap. He drove brilliantly, did what he could. But the guy who drove the best really looked to be Tadpole. I'm going to give him driver of the day from this event. It has to be said that he was really unstoppable in some sense once he took the lead. Metal, he had good pace at the end. He managed his tires quite well, overtook a lot of people. He'd be my second guy for driver of the day. But one driver we lost from the event, Jake Bandy. His RPL F2 debut did not go to plan. So, our feature race will be getting underway in just a moment. We look like we have a afternoon event compared to a morning event this time. Just a reminder for those folks of you watching for right now, that carnage at the back on lap 1. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I saw some people get collected in that. But besides that, it looked okay for the driving standards, I would say. It wasn't bad. I think there was just some people at the back who lost their minds, Goatley being one of them, just driving into the side of another car when overtaking. FBL, that was. But yeah, just a reminder for those of you folks who are watching this event and looking for other events in RPL F1. We have F1 Imola tonight to end off the weekend. Our 6th weekend of points racing on F1 24. Tier 3 is in Texas next week. Tier 2 is in Hungary, excuse me. But F2 is also in Texas, though. We'll go to Texas, Vegas, Brazil, and Singapore to end out the return to RPL F2's season here. I say return, for those of you who are not aware. We shut down F2 for a good 6-7 months and did not race for quite a bit here in this tier. And yeah, we put it on pause. It's good to be back, and it's good to also look forward to some of our upcoming races. Like I said, we got Texas, we got Vegas. We've ran there before. Just didn't do so last season, season 18. Same with Brazil as well. Singapore we ran last season. Drama there. We had to disqualify Annex because he was an alt account and cheating, as we've mentioned. We'll have to do the same for being an alt account for Be Good and Speed, as you see the results being redone in F1 in the server, which is very unfortunate that someone like that has to be that obsessed with our league to rejoin it multiple times. But I'm not going to give people like that the attention. Just a reminder, it will be mentioned, though, for RPL F1 later tonight, that we will get a new V-Carb driver because of that being said. So, feature race time. What you did in qualifying matters now. And it really matters for Jack Miles, who can really take advantage of the championship. Medal as well. Tadpole didn't have a good qualifying in the feature, but he has to make this up. He's on soft tires, so is Jack. Medal's on hards. He sits 6th, Tadpole. So hard tire runners, George, Ikazuchi, Blonde, Wavy, Trat, Medal. So we got a VSC, I believe, last week in Jeddah. We got a safety car, no, a VSC as well in Silverstone. The VSC would really help those guys on soft tires and would really hurt those guys on the hard tires who start there. This will be interesting here for the pit stop cycles, but we'll find out what happens. 16 drivers in our event tonight. Just a reminder, rundown on the championship before we came into this event. Jack Miles led over Skither, 4-point gap. Josh was 3rd, Tadpole was 4th. Meadow with a long shot back in 5th, but with him being 2nd and getting pole position, he got more points than Tadpole and Jack. He just needs to follow it up here by winning the feature race. Trident led ART and Virtuosi into this event, and they're going to continue to do just that here with this. Give us your predictions in the Twitch chat, folks. 6 of you watching for the event. Let's see what unfolds. Just a reminder as well, lap 1, turn 1, and even sector 1, lap 1. We've seen some incidents here before, and we might see it again. I would not be surprised. A lot of drivers like Robin and others were talking about the lap 1 incidents at the back. It would be very catastrophic if it happened at the front. Most people on the soft compound tire, though. Final predictions, give us to it now. It is time for the feature race in Qatar. Our 3rd time for a feature race here is go! And Medal, good start, but Jack Miles gets a better start. Medal bogged down, actually. He's got Bourbon there for company. He qualified well, 3 wide in the back. You had a Virtuosi trying to make a move, but Bourbon makes it a Trident 1-2. Medal to 3rd. That's awful. He did not need that. Jake Bandy and Spangley looks like they've came together. But now, Wavy side by side for 5th with Tadpole. Jack Miles, though, has a 7/10 lead already. This is incredible from Jack. George makes contact with Invade, 3 wide further back, but it's all kicking off. Down to turn 6, we have a move being made. Tadpole on the inside of Trat. Further on back, big incident almost. FPL lit it up there, went wide. Also incident, Ikazuchi around. Goatley, FBL, off. Incident. VSC, FBL is out. And actually, he is retired on track. He's got no front wing. If you're one of the soft tire runners, you're not going to want to pit right now, but you at least get your pit stop out of the way. VSC, no safety car, by the way. But FBL is out of this event. And that's not what he wanted. I don't know why he chose to retire on track. Again, against the rules. But nobody pitting, it looks like here. I don't expect anybody to. If you're on softs, I mean, you're going to want to pit at some point. But you're going to want to not pit just yet. You're going to want to wait it out quite a bit. You can't make it to the end now. Now the question becomes, when does the VSC end? You have Polish actually making a move under the VSC on Robin. That was legal. He let him back through, but that was a big mistake. Spangley gets a drive-through. He was the only one to get a drive-through under the VSC. Wow. FBL, though, I do feel for him because he was at the expense of poor driving standards right there. And he did not deserve that, to say the least, even though he retired on track. Tadpole's teammate, though, will be looking to make this move for 3rd now. Polish, Robin, Polish came together. And Polish has retired on track. What is this with drivers not following the rules? You're not allowed to retire on track. Well, this is unfortunate. Polish is out. PHM driver. Yeah, I don't think it's what he would have wanted. I don't know what happened there. But we went, what, 75% of the race in the sprint without a retirement. Now we've had 2 in the feature race, and they've both been due to drivers raging. And they could go to the pits and retire and give a reason for it. But I don't really understand the point of that. I don't really understand it. Tadpole in pursuit of medal now for 3rd place here. 2 champions run 1-2, but here goes Tadpole inside on medal. Tadpole squeezing now and gets ahead. Fair play from Tadpole. We have Ikazuchi on the back of Jake Bandy now. Jake Bandy, remember, it's his F2 debut weekend. He would love to have a good race, but right now he's conceding the place to Ikazuchi. Now he's going to go back down the inside. Oh, there's contact. Jake Bandy hits the side of Ikazuchi. Ikazuchi slides in the process and does get the place back, but yeah, not without contact. And Robin, you saw him go wide there. I did notice that. Spangley takes advantage. Some drivers here in the midfield and really last point spots struggling, it's safe to say. Down the inside, Robin through in Spangley. Robin already collided with Polish from what we know so far, but you know, he would love to at least stay in the points, maybe do what he can there. I'm going to change the audio. I could hear it's really, really loud with the game. There you go. Now, Robin racing it out with Spangley, 10th place. Invade is racing this 7th place now with Blonde. Lots of battles wherever you look. It's a track full of battles, but it's not always one you overtake on as easily. Metal proved that different, though, of course, in the sprint. That was obvious, but still, it's an unfortunate thing that there's not enough overtaking around here a lot in the F1 cars. We've seen races here be either DRS trains with no overtaking or everyone's spread out and no DRS trains, so it's unfortunate, but right now, Blonde has Invade for company. Metal is getting Tadpole for 3rd. Metal does get ahead, but will he stay ahead at the apex of turn 2? Yes. Blonde also with Invade again. Invade shoots up the inside and does get through. So we've got lots of action so far through this event thus far. And yeah, let us know what you think if you're in Twitch chat. 2x2 now. Ikazuchi getting overtaken by Goatley. Off is Robin. Did Robin get hit from Spangley there? Or was that through his own doing? I mean, we'll see if it was or not later on. I mean, I'm sure there will be some incidents submitted to the stewards. We already have 2 incidents being submitted to the stewards. Both them being drivers retiring on the track. Jake Bandy does pit, though, for the first time in this race. A bit early from the soft runners, but he is onto hards. Maybe it's because when he pitted, it put him on soft tires, I would guess, though. Maybe he didn't have the extra set because of that. I'm not sure. You put him on his used set. I don't know. It's a bit odd. And FBL is left to server. Okay. Well, Invade does end up getting a track limit warning and penalty. But Jack Miles leads this race over teammate Bourbon, and into the pit lane comes Bourbon and now Tadpole. Tadpole cannot speed. Remember that where that pit lane is. It's a different pit lane. We've talked about it in the sprint race. Different pit lane. Different start-finish straight. Lots have changed at Qatar, but 2 drivers have pitted so far. Here's a 3rd, Spangley, in. Oh, puncture. Puncture from Robin on the soft compound tires 3 laps in. So that does mean if he does have a puncture like this, we should be seeing Jack Miles pit soon. Invade hustling the back of Blonde here, putting pressure on him down the inside, and not gonna get the move done. Well, I will say about FBL, he does continue the biggest start streak of any of our drivers in RPL F2. He's made every race since the start of season. 18. And Titan was one of them, but he's missing tonight's event. Titan Iron Wolf. Goggy as well, one of the drivers missing. Josh missing, by the way, for other drivers missing. Same with Kipu, Polo, Jordan, Valkyrie, Miniko, SV, Skither. Others to name as well. But yeah, FBL leaving the server. We'll see if he does rejoin. Jack Miles is in. Did he have a puncture when he came in, though? He did not. It does seem that the front tires do wear quite a bit here, so that probably would be where it would come from if it was one. George making a move on Invade. 2 Tier 3 rivals racing it out in the main straight. George is ahead. Spangley gets a penalty, and that was a spin back in Sector 1. That was a lap car now of Robin going around. So he will finish this race a lap down if he does finish it, and Spangley was the cause of yellow flags in Sector 2. Well, there was a speeding penalty. That was Goatley in the pits. Jack Miles, will he get the advantage over Bourbon Boy? Bourbon Boy on the main straight now. Does hit the start-finish line and will be racing Jack out of the pits, but who will be ahead? Jack Miles exits the pits. He is ahead right now, but will he stay ahead? Answer seems to be yes, but remember, Jack Miles will have to warm up these hard tires, so it should be a gap being under 2 seconds here in just a moment time. Looks like Jack has played this quite well, to say the least, though, with that lap. Bourbon actually as well, with not the best of undercuts on that in lap, or, well, really fast lap, I should say, that he needed. But, yeah, right now, Metal leads this race. He's yet to pit. He's one of those drivers yet to pit. Yellow flags in Sector 1. That is Goatley around again. And Jake Bandy will overtake him for 12th, or 11th, excuse me. So we'll see when our leaders do come in on the hard tires. We do expect it to be a bit later on. I don't expect them to go to softs until after lap 10. But there is more yellow flags. That is Robin. Beached it right there. Off. He is not having the time he would have wanted with an F1 setup on. It is very unfortunate for Robin in his F2 debut weekend. Lots of drivers having a horrid F2 debut weekend. Pitting is Invade. He was on softs. He's now in hards. And the only battle we have right now until pit stops do cycle itself out is Jake Bandy and Goatley. 2 drivers so far this weekend who have immensely struggled. More yellow flags. That is either in the first or second sector. But Invade comes out of the pit lane behind Bourbon. Bourbon, by the way, he made a mistake. He might have been the cause of yellow flags. Tadpole is through for net P2, by the way. So this will be big in this race between Jack Miles and another car. And that is yellow flags. That is for the lap car behind George. Well, now we got a battle. 3rd place on our charts. Wavy has the position on Blonde and George for 3rd through 5th. But the question will be, how long will that be kept? That's going to be the big question right here. Polish frustrated, even though he retired on track, he said, the driving standards in F2 is non-existent. And I think some of these drivers do feel that from the past rounds. It's a bit unfortunate. Our first 3 rounds from F2 are really, really clean, and then the last 3, including this one, have not been so clean. But I don't think this has been too bad, though. I think it's really only been bad if you're any of the drivers 10th on back. And that's really unfortunate to see, because you would expect as a driver who doesn't run up front often, you'd get raced with a bit more respect. So, some drivers not feeling too happy about that. Keep in mind as well, Robin being a lap down, he mentioned it in Twitch chat, he got a puncture on those soft tires. But Blonde closing up to the back of Wavy before pit stops do happen. Let's look at the gap from Jack to Metal. 33 seconds, so this is going to be a race between Jack and Metal for sure. I don't think Trap Racer will put his nose in this as well. But yellow flags, that is in Sector 1. That is a lap car. That is Robin again. He is really, really struggling, and you can tell. You can really tell. But yeah, whatever happened to Bourbon there, he made a mistake earlier on. He lost the position to Tadpole. He had an off, and Tadpole is in the net P2 spot right now, just behind Jack. He'll be fighting for this feature race win, and really, it's a perfect time for Tadpole to do just that. He came into this event 29 points behind Jack. Really extended a gap in the feature race there, to say the or sprint race, excuse me, there to say the least. He needs to do so in this feature race, though. He can't finish behind Jack. Remember, less points awarded in this event compared to the sprint, and that is yellow flag. So that looks to be Robin around again. Jake Bandy, 3 seconds added to his time. Blonde now on the run to turn 1. Lots of momentum he has. He's going through for 3rd place and is ahead of Wavy at the breaking point. Wavy, though, looks to do a switchback. Does he want to do this, though? Does he want to fight this before the pit? He does not. Just a reminder, Metal does need to have some good laps here on the hards if he wants to beat Jack when they do come out of the pit lane. This would be a big race if Metal can do that, but Jack is setting fast laps. He does set the fastest lap here on lap 9. But Robin is off again and going to be lapped for a 2nd time if he continues at this rate. Okay, come on. He has just retired on track and caused a safety car on purpose right there. That is ridiculous. You can't be doing that. I get you're frustrated. Your race is over. You're 2 laps down, or gonna be 2 laps down, but go to the pit lane. This has just helped Metal, and this has thrown this race wide open, for sure. Metal can get a free pit stop, Trat can, so can Blonde, Wavy, and even George. Same with Ikazuchi. Ikazuchi's not that far ahead of Jack. He won't lose out too big, but free pit stops for the top 6 drivers. And we'll see if they do end up pitting. Metal is in. Trat right now. Got to keep all 4 wheels within that white line. He does do that. Blonde in, looks to be. Yep. It's not a bad time for them to pit. They will risk a puncture. Keep that in mind. They will be risking this, but they have to do this. They get the safety car. They will be getting better tire wear due to the safety car being out. But Ikazuchi, our next one, we'll see if he does pit as well. I get Robin was frustrated, but you cannot rage and wreck yourself on purpose like that. Jack Miles, will he pit for softs here, even though he might take a few places? No. I'm not surprised he didn't come in, though, because the thing is that he's already going to be losing out on the race lead. He might even lose out on 2nd here. Why risk it even worse? And Jack Miles will be behind Trat Racer here. This is big. Racing out of the pit lane. Tadpole gets George. Tadpole has fallen back to 5th here. Another car in between him and Jack. Wow. Okay, so this has really changed the outcome of this race. That is exactly why you don't wreck on purpose. It is Robin's fault. He takes the blame. His wheel is very broken, which leads to it disconnecting at random times while pedals stay on, so he couldn't do anything. So, I mean, that's fair as to why he had the constant spins. I mean, I'm not going to discredit him for that, but if you're frustrated, if you're not having the best of races, you got to go to the pit lane and give up there. You cannot do it on track. That is very unfortunate. And it's really changed the outcome of this race. Look at what it's done for Jack. It's put him back to 3rd. It was going to be a race between him and Metal for this victory. Now there's a car in between him and Trat. Well, or him and Metal. It's Trat. Yeah, crazy stuff to start this race. All 3 of our retirements coming at very weird circumstances, to say the least. And I'm sure although Polish and FBL, they retired on track, Robin will be getting probably a slightly bigger penalty due to that. Usually it's not too often. Too big. I think it will be pretty much a race ban or 2 based on what we've seen with past precedent. Yeah, no movement for the safety car coming into the pit lane just yet. It looks like got 13 runners left in this race, but we still have Spengler, Goatley, and Jake Bandy to catch up. Ikazuchi on soft tires, George, Wavy, Blonde, Metal, and Trat. They'll all be winning out big here. But Trat Racer, he has a chance to get his 2nd F2 victory. But the big issue for him, based on what we've seen in the sprint race, he needs to stay in the session. He stayed in the session just perfectly fine in the feature. But so far, this weekend. He's lagged out 4 times, and he cannot have this if he wants to go for the victory. So chat, give us your thoughts. Remember our upcoming F2 races. We go to the 2 US tracks, Texas and Vegas for rounds 7 and 8, then Brazil and Singapore. Spangley gets a 3-second under the safety car. That could be appealable, but I'm not sure it will matter, considering he's already outside of the points and on hard tires. Keep in mind, Jake Bandy, Bourbon, Tadpole, they may risk a puncture here, but with the safety car being out, I don't know if it's as bad of a risk anymore. I don't think it is, but we'll find out. So we're under safety car conditions for the first time in F2 this season. After an incident with Robin out of this race. That will be seeing the steward's office, no doubt about it, but how big will the penalty be? George wondering, or Wavy wondering, why has George let him go? That is a big question right there that may be asked later on. Again, some of these incidents may see the steward's office, some of these will not, but safety car could be coming in this time. I don't know if it will be, but I think it for sure will be next time if it's not this time. Just remember with where Wavy is running, I believe he's what, in a high tech, if that's correct? Wavy is in a high tech. High tech and PHM, the only 2 F2 teams this season not to see a podium. We'll find out if that happens. Ow! I just banged my hand. Oops. Kind of cold. That's why I was grabbing some extra clothing. But yeah, we have a restart that'll be getting underway in just a few moments' time. We'll find out if Metal can stay in control. Will Trot Racer be able to get there in time? Jake Bandy speeds in the pit lane. He gets a 10-second for it. He'll be trading himself onto soft tires, but I believe he'll be on his qualifying set, or the set he was meant to be on when the game put him on softs after he retired on the pit lane in the sprint event. So, softs versus hards, that'll be the big talking point under the safety car restart here getting underway in just a lap time. But have these guys also kept their tires up to temperature as well? That will be the big question. You have to do a good job of keeping your tires in check, that's for sure. But Trat, second right now, looking for another F2 podium. Has not had one this season. He came close in Imola. He was just short of it. I think he ended off with a puncture there at the end, if I'm correct. I know Jack as well was one of those drivers who stole a podium over Trat. Jack right now is trying to steal second place over Trat, and really also trying to minimize any damage that Metal could be taking over him on this championship gap. So Grogger says, you let me pass under the safety car, so that's why I think Wavy let him, Grogger's let him back through right there. I am really messing up names, and I've been put in the game chat due to logging out of the party for some odd reason. Safety car is in this lap. We will get just a few laps of racing remaining here in Qatar. Just a reminder, to end off this weekend, we'll be in Imola later on today for RPL F1. I hope you all do tune in for that event and do enjoy it, with that being said. But as we said, the safety car is in this time. We've got 4 laps to go on this restart. SLR Metal leads, trying to win for the 3rd time in RPL F2. He's been on a hot streak, it's safe to say. The question is, does this continue? When does he go? You've got to make sure you stay at a consistent speed. It looks like he's doing just that. But you've got to be careful coming out of this final corner. Don't brake as you go. He's going now. Trat is there to challenge. Trat is already on the back of him and slipstreaming. Here he comes with a lot of tow. Trat Racer challenging for the lead. Oh, contact on the main straight. Big contact. Behind that, 3 wide for a moment. Groggers, Wavy, Bourbon, battling it out, all trying to get spots in this field. This is going to be crucial, especially with 4 laps remaining and the little chances you have around here to overtake. You need to get these moves done now. Jack has Blonde for company, but he needs to get there on track. He needs to minimize any damage that Metal will be taking with this victory for the championship gap. Tadpole definitely won't be getting anything being behind Jack. We know that. Heavy braking down here into the corner. Remember, we'll see a lot of lockups here. A lot of drivers running without ABS. It is a big, treacherous place for that. You have a move, maybe. Ikazuchi on Invade. Ikazuchi does not have any penalties. Invade and Bourbon, they both do. Blonde, pressurizing Jack. Will there be any moves being made? Now George on Tadpole. Collision! Tadpole is off! And into the gravel. He got spawned from George, and that is a big incident and big toward his championship hopes. Man, Tadpole, he was having a decent race at least, though, even if it wasn't the victory. And he was, remember, on those hard tires. He was just trying to hang on. He can't do so now. He's outside the points. He'll be lucky if he even gets a point in this event. But Metal leads, 3 laps to go. In the background, that's a Red Bull livery car weaving around, trying to get temperature on the tires. But Jake Bandy is in. A lot of guys in DRS pursuit, but we'll be handing out the DRS next time by, only for the drivers to have it on lap 16 here. Or really lap 15, entering 16 though. And 16. We got Ikazuchi on the back of Invade. He's the new full-time driver in Kipu's academy. We'll see if there's a move being made. Right now there's a move being made with Blonde and Jack. It's Trat's academy versus Goggy's academy here for third, the last spot of the podium. And now we're on the outside. Blonde on the fresher, better soft tires. Will be taking advantage here. Just can he get ahead? Yes, he can. He's up to third. George there will be there to pounce as well on Jack. Jack losing tons of places. The good thing for Jack is that Tadpole, the only one in this race, who is the closest to him in the championship, is going to be having a bad points day in the feature race. He had a good one in the sprint race, but not a good one in this feature race, that's for sure. He's in 12th right now, just 2 spots outside of points. If there's any penalties, he could get a point or 2, minimize a bit of the damage he's already going to be taking. But Jack, 12 points compared to Metal with 26 right now. So yeah, I mean, Metal gaining 14, already gaining 6 in the previous event. I mean, if things stand the way it is right now, Metal's putting this gap down to 27. Big championship hunt here into the second half of the season. DRS enabled, Jake Bandy's on wets. I think that was an accident, but I think he's really frustrated with the way this event is going. Don't know if that was on purpose or not. Seems like everything is staying in touch. Everything is just staying calm here. You got Wavy Knife, who's in 6th. George, who's in 5th. They can pounce if anything happens between Blonde and Trat. This is for the podium place. 2nd and 3rd. Jack is right behind. George is there. Wavy is there. And Metal has really pulled this gap. He's put on another amazing performance. Pole to victory, possibly, for Metal, if he can just hang on for, well, 4 more sectors. We'll find out. Bourbon hangs on for 7th. He's had really not the best of races, but he'll be getting a point regardless of this track limit penalty he has. The past F2 champion, he's having struggling times here. It's really a championship hangover, it seems. The champion from season 12 and 18. The champion from season 8 right now is in good hands here. Jack Miles in 4th place, it's safe to say. Spangley, Tadpole, wheel to wheel. Now, this is where Tadpole got hit from George. He's clear of Spangley. He has to get 8 seconds here in order to get the point spot. If he can get down to maybe 3, he can get Invade, but it's too little too late for Tadpole. Final lap underway. SLR Metal leads this race, and he's looking for a 3rd victory. It's our 3rd time in Qatar. The 3rd time maybe being the charm for SLR Metal. We'll find out. If he does take this, I believe he does go up to actually 3rd in the championship as well. So lots of 3s for Metal. He's got 2 of them in his name. Be worth adding a third one tonight with the way things stand, with how things have gone. Jack Miles looking to take the podium place. Will Blonde and Trat be just managing their tires here for the final 2 sectors? Another penalty handed out to a driver. That's Ikazuchi now. That'll be affecting the point spots further back. Goatley could be even taking a another point spot from this. Maybe even 3 of them. Wow. It's still close here for second, but I just don't see anything making from it. I have to give Tread a lot of credit. I don't think he's had a podium here in RPL F2 since his last win. It came back in Spain, his only win in the league. If he can get a podium, that'd be great. Blonde hasn't seen a podium quite a bit. But someone who has so far today, SLR Metal, second place in the sprint. And now, a pole to victory. He's got the number 3 on his car. Now coming to the line for his 3rd F2 win. SLR Metal dominates the feature race. He needed this one. He got it. Trat Racer finishes second to return to the RPL F2 podium. Blonde, as a reserve, returns to the RPL F2 podium. He does this for Campos. Jack is 4th. George is 5th. Jack limiting the damage. George having 2 good races. Wavy for points. He's in 6th. Oh, that's car hitting the wall. It's Tadpole. Goatley is 7th. He took advantage of point spots. And you got Bourbon, the past F2 champion. Not the day he would have wanted, but he gets points for Trident. Ikazuchi for ART, who sat 2nd in the constructors coming in. He gets 9th. Invade is 10th. Tadpole gets points. Tadpole just first one outside the points. Invade gets points, excuse me. And Spangley outside the points. And Jake Bandy, our last one to finish. He is on wet weather tires on a dry track. I don't think we're going to see any wet weather on this circuit anytime soon, even in a real race, but yeah, not the weekend some guys would have wanted. Robin, Polish, FBL out of this event. 3 we lost in the feature, 1 we lost in the sprint, and Jake Bandy gets another time penalty. So, fastest lap went to SLR Metal. I just want to remind people, because of where Jack finished, the gap between Metal and Jack is 27 points. I'm not too sure what the gap would be with Jack and Skither. Skither came into this event 2nd in the championship, but yep, Spangley retires because he left the session early. Just waiting for Jake Bandy to finish. And he does finish on the wet weather tires. Well, Prema, they're still looking for their first victory of the season. We'll find out if it does happen. Remember, next week for F2, we go to some drivers' home race. We got RPL Titan Iron. We got Polish Hammer. Skither, some of those drivers' home races in Texas. I don't think we have really any or many Texas drivers in RPL, but we can find that out ahead of next week for sure. Blonde, Invade, these guys finding out the safety car was intentional from Robin, definitely changing the outcome of this race. Handing Metal, really, honestly, I hate to say it for him, but a free victory. Josh fully got lucky, or maybe it was Metal who got lucky, whoever it was last week in F2. Well, really, Metal got lucky this week with the VSC, or sorry, the safety car. A free, cheap pit stop that allowed him to just cruise away and have no contention of any battle with Jack. They spray the champagne on the top step of the podium, but definitely a lot happening there. So, yeah, so Jack does extend the gap over Skither. It's a 21-point gap. Metal gets up to 3rd in the championship. He's 27 points behind. Tadpole really doesn't gain as much as he really should have, but at least he's only 1 point behind Jack. Or no, sorry, 7 points, I guess. No, that's even worse in terms of the weekend with where things are. But here are your feature race results. Honestly, I would have to give, I mean, Metal drove great, don't get me wrong. I have to give him credit. Blonde drove great as well. Jack really got screwed with that safety car. But honestly, I'm going to give the drive of the day to Goatley. He had issues from what happened in the start of this race. He had, I believe, a spin or 2. He started 16th, got his way up to 10th. Help with the safety, 11th it was. Help with the safety car. Had no penalties. He went from 16th to 7th. And, you know, based on what we saw today, a lot of the driving in the midfield was absolutely atrocious. I hate to say it. It's really anywhere from 9th, 10th on back. They weren't driving great. And Goatley took advantage of that and was one of the only ones who did great. If Metal did not have that safety car and still won anyway, I would give him driver of the day. But he got extremely lucky. And it has to be said, He would have had Jack Miles for contention, maybe even Tadpole right there as well in the thick of things. Bourbon if he didn't spin out. But Meadow's my second contender there, but Goatley's my driver of the day from the feature race. He's not shown a lot in F2 so far, but he gets his best result. Credit is due where credit is due, as they always say. Hey, Jake on wet weather tires, I know. And Robin, I mean, you know, he finished the race. He didn't crash out, I guess. I don't know. Jake Bandy did not have the F2 debut he would have wanted, as we said. It absolutely was intentional. The safety car. But Goatley talking about he got lucky with the safety car. I know Metal did too, but Goatley gained spots, and I know Metal drove great, but yeah, I have to give it. I'm going to give it to Goatley. He's not really shown a lot in F2 so far, so well-deserved driver of the day. Maybe a bit silly from some people, but in terms of their opinions and that, but I get it. It's an opinion after all. So, later on this week on the RPL of Formula 1 YouTube, you'll be catching some previous race starts on there. 20 minutes of battles from a specific driver. One comes from their time in F2. And race highlights you'll get on Monday for RPL F1, which we'll have happening later on tonight. In 2 hours' time. Imola, round 6 of the season. Tune in for there. Let us know what you think. My closing thoughts on today's F2 race. It was cleaner than last week. It was cleaner than Silverstone. It's good to see that, but we still need to have the standards go up, though. We can't be having 2 drivers retire on track, 1 retire on purpose. It really affected the outcome of the race, and it's really unfortunate to see. But as mentioned, though, it only happened from the back of the field. It wasn't the whole field, so it's an improvement, but we need to see better, too. All right, I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, 1-time F2 podium sitter. I think I did it around 7 or around 8 last season. Maybe we'll see what these drivers can do around 7 around 8. The 2 next U.S. races, Texas and Vegas upcoming. Imola later on tonight for RPL F1. Tune in then. Until next time, we're saying goodbye and good night. We'll see you then. Ryan Searles signing off. Have a good day. Or good night or good evening whenever you're watching. We'll see you then.